Welcome to Cast Conversations Inside the Arena with me, Philip Gabriel, at Riverside Community Players. As you can see, I'm not yet joined by a cast, but I will be in just a moment. But first, I wanted to talk about a very important event that happened here on February 22nd, and many of you may have heard about it. So on the night of February 22nd to February 23rd, Riverside Community Players was the victim of an arson fire. And it started sometime around 11 p.m. and it was involving our back area, our loading dock, so not really the public areas. And the fire started somewhere around 11 p.m. and by 11:30, the fire department was on site. We had some damage. So the container that you see in the back, if you ever drive in the back, that stores all of our furniture props, was a complete and total loss. The fire then crept up into the side of the building, scorching the side, and involved some of our roof. However, due to a lot of heroic efforts, actually, the security guards at the hospital, the quick response of Riverside Fire Department number 1, the fire was contained before there was major damage. But there was damage. So we were very, very lucky in a lot of ways. However, subsequently, the community really came together for us with all the publicity. And thanks to a lot of people who made it known, our plight, as it were, the folks at the Press Enterprise, the people at ABC7 Eyewitness News, and a GoFundMe page was started, and we raised over 12,000.
11,000.
Yeah, but 11, with other donations, that's my producer Lynn Ennis. Hi, Lynn. So with donations on the GoFundMe, plus people handing us checks, well over 12,000, I'd say, an outpouring of support for us that, thank you just doesn't really seem like enough. But that money is going to help us get where we need to be with replacing some of the things that were lost, insurance premiums, and setting up some better security for our theater. So we as a board here at Riverside Community Players wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you from the bottom of our heart for the outpouring of support that we've received. And, as we said, the show will go on. And that current show is Born Yesterday. So when I come back, I'm going to be speaking with director Phil Holmer. We're going to talk about Born Yesterday, and then a little bit later, I'll be joined by some cast members for Cast Conversations. We'll be back. Don't go away. We're back at Riverside Community Players Inside the Arena Cast Conversations, and I am joined by the director of our latest endeavor, Born Yesterday, Mr. Phil Holmer. Welcome.
Hi. Yeah.
So, I was reading in your biography that you've been involved with Riverside Community Players down here for 50 years. Is that
actually
true?
More like 60 plus years. I started hanging out down here when I was about 15.
Obviously. And you're the director of Born Yesterday.
Again.
And you actually cast me in my first role here at Riverside Community Players.
The Mousetrap?
In the Mousetrap. And they haven't been able to get rid of me since. But this isn't the first time that you have directed Born Yesterday.
No, I directed it in 1978. And it was the first show of that season, and that was 45 years ago.
Wow. So Born Yesterday, if you don't know, just a synopsis, it's about, it was written in 1946, 47, 48?
46.
46, okay, by Garson Kanin. And it is about corruption in Washington, D.C., in the political arena.
But it's funny.
It's funny. And maybe timely. Is it
Well,
timely
it
as
is.
1946?
I
and
think,
now we're in 2023. How
well, I
things
think,
maybe haven't changed that much.
I think it is timely, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to do it, wanted RCP to do it, because this is a perpetual problem. There've always been scandals and payoffs and whatnot going on in government, and occasionally they get caught. And but it's going on all the time, basically.
So this is a comedy set in the world of political payoffs and intrigue and scandal in 1946, and you've set it in 1946.
Yes.
Did you have any thought maybe about not setting it in 1946, since I mean, politics in Washington seems to be a timely thing?
Well, actually, I didn't. When I did this the first time, the program editor actually called Garson Kanin and got him on the phone.
Really?
And wanted to get his feeling on Born Yesterday and how it fit in the time period.
Of 1978.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said that he had seen productions that tried to update it and bring in Watergate and other things, but they really didn't work as well. And I think it conveys the same message, but it's set in the time period, and that's a perfect thing for this. Garson Kanin was in the war. He made a documentary of the D-Day attack for Eisenhower.
Well,
and when he came back, he wanted to write something about, that expressed what he felt. And so this is, in a way, it's or framed as a very patriotic kind of thing, because he says, there's a perfect piece of machinery, the democratic process, and somebody's always trying to tamper with it and make it hit the jackpot. And that's exactly what we see happening, from time to time.
In Washington of 1946 and maybe at other times. That's very interesting.
Yes.
But he does it with humor.
Yes.
And he does it within the framework of humor. And so the basic story is told through the eyes of,
well, I wouldn't say told through the eyes of, but it's a story about a young woman who is really lived her life so far without bothering to think about anything, because she's happily getting what she wants. And when she starts to be educated, so she'll fit into Washington society better, she finds out that she doesn't really have a great life.
So it's a love story.
And it is.
It's a love story. Interesting. So, okay, you've been here a number of years, and you've done a number of shows here over the years. I bet you have favorites. I bet you have those shows that just really stick out. What are some of those shows?
Born Yesterday is one, because I just, because I love the play so much.
Right, in 1978.
And
in
1970 something, it was. I did a workshop production here, and I did a scene from Born Yesterday.
Okay.
That's when I was like 16.
So this is a show, like frontwards, backwards, sideways. You've been working with this for over 45 years.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I try to keep myself from saying the lines along with the cast.
That's helpful.
The other shows that I am really proud of and have done is I did The Ladies Not for Burning, which is a romantic comedy in free verse, and that's my favorite play, and I just love the language in it. I did Equus, which was
here in the arena.
So intense.
Did you bring a horse on set? I just have to ask that.
We had five of the horses.
5 horses.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of.
Was everybody clothed? Okay, don't answer that. You have to go back in the archives to see that.
We had so I did Equus. I did A Raisin in the Sun. And it was the first time that we had a cast here at RCP that was mostly black, and some people thought, people won't turn out to audition for that. the place was packed.
When was this, Phil?
1987, I think.
Seems very late in the game, doesn't it? To have
Yeah.
very late in the game,
But it was.
but better late than never.
It was, it was on the list, and so I grabbed it. Well, it was Equus too. Back then they did seniority directors, they got to pick first.
Boy, that's changed, hasn't it?
And I was, just when I got seniority.
just when you have 60 years in, right?
Yes. And I got I was last on the list, and I was sure somebody else was going to pick Equus. Because I had read it, just reading, I thought, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
And nobody did, so I did.
So from 78 to now to 2023, how is it going to be different from 78? I guess would be the first part of my question.
Well, it's not going to be different in any large way.
Okay.
But, I'm surprised all the things that I realize now. I mean, 78 was a pretty good show.
Mm-hmm.
But I realize all the things I didn't think about then. Maybe because other people were doing it.
Yeah.
And maybe not. But
I know. I know.
But, I think,
yeah.
did I think of that in 1978?
Sometimes years later, after I've done a project, I wake up at 3 a.m. I should have done the line that way. Seriously.
Yeah.
You know. So it's always in your brain. So for anybody who doesn't know anything about this show, what's the one thing that you, as a director, want people to know about Born Yesterday?
I want people to know that they'll enjoy it. Yes. It's a terrific script.
It is a good script.
Our cast is the only reference I have so far.
And we're going to meet them in just a few of them in just a moment.
But
actually, it's a huge cast, but we're going to meet about 3 of them. So yeah.
But they're here. They're laughing. So
you have political intrigue. You have young lovers, and comedy. Yeah.
Well,
sounds like a winner.
Not political intrigue, really, but yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Phil, in just a moment, we're going to take a break, but in just a moment, we're going to be right back, and we're going to be joined by 3 members of the cast of Born Yesterday, and we'll continue our talk. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside the Arena Cast Conversations here at Riverside Community Players. I'm Philip Gabriel, and I am joined by the director of Born Yesterday, Phil Holmer, and he's brought along some of his cast members, Isabel Bursky,
yes,
Bobby Schieffer, and Kevin Bray. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, ladies first, right? You are playing the iconic role of Billy Dawn. Were you familiar with this role before you auditioned, or?
Well, I'd seen the movie and I fell in love with the movie and the Judy Holliday's performance of it, and just the character in general, where it was really like a transformative thing. She goes from this kind of dumb blonde in a sense, and then really comes into her own by being educated too. So I found that really just incredible and great, especially for like a female character.
I think it's one of the great roles of theater of that time. I mean, a role for me, looking at it, it's a role that has a strong woman, a strong female lead, truly strong, that you maybe don't see that at first. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting to me. Can you maybe speak to what the real strengths are of Billy as a character,
Well, as a character, I find that Phil found in both versions of her, in a sense, is her honesty, which comes from her lack of filter.
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah.
you could say. and that's present before and afterwards. So I find that beautiful too, where she doesn't really lose who she is. She is true to herself. It's just, you know, awakening and broadening one's mind and perspective. Also, just she's very playful and she's very fun, and
Yeah.
I love that about her, and I think that just made her also just more endearing, to soften her up a bit too, because it is, you know, still like the transformative aspect, and that can be kind of, it can be rough at times. So
Yeah, you
that
see,
helps
you
to
see a
soften
journey
it.
through the whole process of the play. I mean, your character more than any character. What was the hardest thing that you've encountered thus far? And I know you're not quite to production yet. We're filming this we're about 2.5 weeks away, a week and a half thereabouts.
Week and a half.
Week and a half, yeah. So what have you found the most challenging thing?
I guess more, just I guess from where I am versus where she is, I'm far more introverted and she's far more extroverted than me.
Right.
So I think I found so far is the energy aspect of it.
Oh, okay.
So I'd say that, but I also enjoy it because it's so far away from me in a sense.
Right. Well, that's acting, isn't it? I mean, you know, we all get out of our heads and or get into somebody else's head and somebody else's life. So you're new to Riverside Community Players. Welcome. Where might we have seen you before here in the Inland Empire or anywhere really?
This is where I get found out as a fraud. This is my first play ever.
Really?
Yes. Beforehand, I had just done two short films.
Okay.
So sort of new to acting and everything.
Well, congratulations. Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. We're thrilled to have you. Any short films, would we have seen them anywhere? Are they?
One is currently out. It's called Project Refate.
Okay.
The other one isn't released yet. It's called The Manson Sisters, and it goes into like the
Oh.
Manson murders and that sort of thing.
That sounds interesting. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so after the show, people are going to wait for your autograph, you know, before you get too famous. Well, anyway, thank you for taking some time. So, Bobby,
Yes.
how are you?
Doing great. How you doing, Phil?
Really well. So you and I worked together on Murder on the Orient Express, and that was about a year ago now.
Mhm.
And I said to you at that time, they're gonna like catch you up, and they're not gonna let you go, and you're gonna be working solid. And lo and behold, you've been working solid for the last year. What are some of the things you've done?
Yeah, that was my first show, just back in theater in general in
Right.
12 years. So
I remember
it was
that.
great getting back on stage with such an amazing production and sharing the stage with such great actors as yourself. So yeah, I caught the bug again after that.
And then they caught you, and then they haven't let you go.
Yeah.
So what have you done? What's
So I've been pretty busy since then.
Yeah.
Here I've done, I did Frankenstein. I had a few ensemble. This is my first non-ensemble role I've had at RCP. So I did a little a couple ensemble roles in Frankenstein. I had a few characters in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, the last main
Right.
stage show.
right?
And then I also did Completely Hollywood Abridged for Chino Community Theater.
Right. So you've been getting around,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're here with us in Bourne yesterday playing Paul Varel.
Yes.
How's Paul working out for you?
Paul is definitely one of my biggest acting challenges.
Yeah.
This is one of the only plays I've ever done where I don't get to do an accent of some kind, and I had to really just. I wouldn't say Paul is so much like me, but I have to be as much of a, for lack of a better term, the straight guy in the play. I'm used to being the zany kind of comic relief. This is my first show at RCP. Well, I haven't done a Scottish accent whatsoever at all.
I have to tell you, because you did two shows with a Scottish accent. You did obviously Murder on the Orient Express, and then you had a Scottish accent in Frankenstein.
Uh-huh.
Somebody came up to me and they were talking about, that Bobby, he's really good, but do you think he can do he's really Scottish, isn't he? Do you think he could do an American accent? And I'm like,
Time will
yeah,
tell.
Yeah, he's actually American. So kudos to you.
Thanks.
But I remember actually when he was backstage during Orient Express, man, he was going over that accent over and over and over. And that's a tribute to you and the intensity that you bring to roles.
Thanks.
So I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what you bring to Paul.
Yeah,
It should
it's one of my biggest acting challenges I've ever had, honestly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What's your favorite part of Paul?
At first, it's his earnestness, really, which was really tough for me to play. I want to always kind of find a joke or some kind of sarcastic edge, usually, when I'm. That's how I am in my personal
Paul's
life.
not very sarcastic, is he?
I think there's moments where he's a little, he has a few biting dialogue pieces here or there, but just what Paul thinks of the American education system. I think it really relates to that Horace Mann quote that education is the great equalizer. It really improves the social machinery. One of Kanan's lines for Paul is, I want everyone to be smart because a world full of ignorant people is just too dangerous to live in, which I agree.
Yeah, and that's actually on a plaque on 41st Street in New York, that quote, in front of a library.
Interesting. I think there's people are going to come in to see this show, and I think they're going to go away with a lot of quotable quotes, actually, because the script is so strong. Isn't it great as actors, though? I mean, everybody, isn't it great to work with a really good script? I mean, to really, I don't know. For me, it always makes like the line memorization easier, and just getting into the characters. And you guys have one of the best to work with. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you bring to Paul. And Kevin Bray, my friend, how are you?
Oh, hi, Philip.
It's good to see you.
It's nice to be seen.
So Kevin, you and I, you were in the second show I ever did here.
Portrait of a Nude.
Portrait of a Nude.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my second show, and it was one of the favorite shows I had ever done. I had so much fun working with you.
We did have fun.
If you don't know Kevin is just one of the nicest human beings on the planet. And here you are playing one of the most odious characters ever. You're Harry Brock.
I am.
I think you're going to be great in it, but
I hope so.
Give me some insight on how you're getting into Harry's head, because you're such a nice guy, and man, he's just awful.
Harry, I think it's easy for anybody to go back when you think about it, how you were at 8 years old. And if you're a bully, if you're or you knew bullies when you were 8.
Yeah.
That's who Harry is. He's an 8-year-old in a 45, and I'm being kind to myself. Don't laugh. Stop laughing.
Okay.
I'm older, so it doesn't.
Well, that's true. But he's an 8-year-old guy in a very mature body, and he doesn't know. He's really, it could be accurately said, he's really the guy who was born yesterday, because Billy evolves out of it.
Yeah.
Harry never does. He's stuck. And when I revert to who are some of the real nasty kids I used to know. Oh, okay, I remember a couple, and they're sort of an amalgamation of that. An amalgam.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And so I play him with a lot of good direction from Phil. Loud and nasty and boisterous, because he doesn't know how not to be. That's how he's gotten his way all his life. And you see that every day. I have daughters, and when they were growing up, I try to impress on them. You see people today and they're nasty. They would come home with tales about this person was picking on them, etc. People evolve away from, or they become more sophisticated in their nastiness, but it never really leaves them. If you're a jerk, a lot of times it stays with you. It just manifests itself differently as you get older. And Harry is never going to change. he will never change. He sees Billy has changed, and it enrages him. How come, I don't know if he's thought about it like this, but how come he's being left behind?
Right. Interesting. Well, I'm going to be very interested to see your Harry Brock, because I feel like what we've already talked about are all of these layers. Phil, you have cast some of the most cerebral actors, going into these parts. It's amazing. I can't wait to see some of the things that's going to happen between the three of you, because really you're the core three. You're the core three that
I didn't cast them, I cast their brains.
you cast. No, I can see that. I can see
You know,
that.
I like that. I like that.
Kevin, you've worked here a long time too. How long have you been here at RCP over the years? I know off and on. We all come and go, and
18 years.
18
I think
years.
the first show I did,
With
Phil was
Laura?
in. No, it was The Constant Wife.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's where I met my wife, Sue, when we did The Constant Wife.
here at
Right,
RCP.
at RCP.
Okay. Right.
And then the show immediately after that, I think it was immediately after that, was Laura,
Yeah,
which Phil directed. And
in which he played the bad guy again.
I played the nut, the bad guy. And then we did Portrait of a Nude here.
Yeah, I love that show.
When also Sue did that with us.
Right.
And The Hollow and Murder on the Nile. And
Do you have a favorite show here at RCP that you've done?
I would have to say it'd be The Constant Wife.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I got to play a British philanderer, and what the hell, fella? That's what I do best, you know?
Okay, I'm going to close up with a question. This is going to be for all of you. And this is kind of, we're all actors here. Some of us, do directing and acting at the same time. But there's always a moment, I think, when you're young, old, or whenever you come to acting, that all of a sudden you have maybe this epiphany and you think, I want to do that. I want to do acting, or I can do that, and I think that would be really great. So what I want to know is, what was that epiphany for each of you? What was that moment, that aha moment that said, okay, I want to act, Phil?
Well, I started out being on the lighting crew in the 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
And then, I was lighting like plays and music concerts and things. But the plays, I thought, I could do that. So the next year I did. And
here you are.
that never looked back, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Kevin, what was your aha moment?
I don't know. I've just always wanted to be a performer, even in The Office, which didn't do my career a lot of good a lot of times. But it was just fun to be someone else, and to especially when you get older, it's actually rather therapeutic. We have a lot of nuts in this world and a lot of problems. And if you can make people laugh, if you can be on a stage and have fun and be creative, tap into stuff that you never tapped into before. People paint, people sculpt, people write music.
And some of us act.
Try and act.
Right. Bobby.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah?
Early 90s, Saturday Night Live.
Oh, sure.
So it kind of goes
Some of his best,
different.
some of his best work,
I liked his early stuff a lot more, but going back to what Kevin said, just seeing that and seeing that's possible, and just getting people to laugh and acting like a crazy nut and talking in silly voices, I was like, that is for me. So figuring out how do you get it to that point. When in high school, when there was a drama class, I took a drama class, and my teacher liked me. And then all of a sudden, when I was no longer the tallest kid on the basketball team and everyone shot up past me. I dropped basketball and picked up drama as my elective and did a play, and I will never forget getting my first laugh on stage performing.
Boy, there's nothing like that.
There's nothing like that.
That's a high.
And I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, fair. You know, Adam Sandler is a huge basketball player as well.
Yeah, there's a relation there. Yeah.
Isabel.
Well, I had never really been much into like the theater scene when I was younger. It's not really an interest in my family, but for me, I guess it would be just always, it was always an interest of mine, but I kind of pushed it to the side. But from being a kid that was terrified of being on stage or being, you know, looked at that sort of way, I guess I saw it as a challenge to myself, to put myself out there, and to be vulnerable in that way. And I find that it's just a beautiful thing that you can connect with people and make people feel something.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I mean, people are actors, particularly. They think, you know, people who aren't actors, they think, well, actors are larger than life or whatever. But I think if you ask almost any actor, we'll all tell you that we're shy. And people think, really? How can that be? So, well, this has been a huge pleasure, actually. Phil, Kevin, Bobby, Isabel.
Likewise.
I am looking very much forward to seeing this, hopefully opening weekend, which is coming right on up.
It opens on April 21st.
Opens on April 21st.
And runs through May 7th.
May 7th. It runs for 3 weekends. Tickets are live at the box office, I believe it's rcp.org, and or are calling the box office and leaving a message. Anyway, again, on behalf...
Order online.
Or order online. I'm Philip Gabriel. Thank you again for joining us for Cast Conversations Inside the Arena at Riverside Community Players. And again, I want to close with a heartfelt thank you to all of you who reached out to us during the recent fire, and your donations and your kind words meant more than you could possibly know. So thank you, and we'll see you next time inside the arena and at Born Yesterday.